Cat is such an underrated player because Minnesota is such a bad organization.
He's not underrated.
He is underrated.
He's not
They're not good. I keep trying to explain
are
that
good.
to you.
They are good now. They are good now.
People understand how good Karl-Anthony Towns is. It's just the Timberwolves are not good.
I don't think they do.
He's not underrated. No way.
You think they're not good because of the talent or because of the coaching?
Consistent. I think they're just not consistent enough.
I think in years past, it was the talent and coaching. This year, Chris Finch has done a really great job at putting together a defensive scheme, and D'Lo has taken that responsibility of really directing the defense. He's done a good job. Since D'Lo has been in Minnesota, the Wolves have been 500, but he's been hurt. This year, he's healthy. Now with Edwards taking that leap and Jared Vanderbilt being an exceptional role player, the Timberwolves they're starting to take shape.
They're a good team. I was watching Minnesota versus the Warriors, right? So I was watching this game, and in the first half, Cat was dominating the paint. He's making dimes because they had the double team, and Reggie Miller said an interesting point. Like, when you watch these young teams, Memphis, right? You know what you're gonna get when you play Memphis. Tough, gritty, grind out game. With Cleveland, you're gonna get the big men, Darius Garland, the Flash, young teams. With Minnesota, you don't know what you're gonna get on every given night. They're so inconsistent in a sense where one night you can get the best Minnesota, and then another night it can be like, oh, this not like even when against the Warriors, the first half that was the best Minnesota I've seen all year. Like, they looked incredible. And then in the second half, granted, D'Lo, he didn't come back in the second half, but in the second half, they started chucking shots. Cat didn't really get the ball. So it's like Minnesota's the talent is there. I never just when people talk about talent, they're not like the Kings. I don't think the Kings' talent is there, but Minnesota's talent is there. They have the pieces. It's just they can't put it together consistently. I think on a play style basis for them to really take themselves over the top.
Another name we didn't. My bad, bro. Another name we didn't list for small forwards. Anthony Edwards. Are you even contemplating that over Wiggins?
No.
Negative.
I love Edwards, but I'm not thinking about it right now.
Too soon?
It's not too soon. It's just Wiggins has too much things over him right now. He has efficiency over him, and he has that he's playing on a better team by far over him.
In the long run, though, Ant-Man's going to be better.
Yeah, for sure. I think Edwards is going to be a superstar.
Yeah, don't forget defense. You cannot forget the defense.
Yeah, that's true, too.
How long do you think it's going to take before Minnesota's actually going to make that leap? Because I heard before you were saying about them kind of still being young, but in my opinion, I don't really look at Minnesota as being young. I mean, D'Lo's been in the league for how many years now? Since 2000?
6 or 7?
Yeah, 6 or 7,
Cat came out in what, 15? 16?
Yeah, 15.
He came out the same draft with D'Lo. You look at a lot of people on that roster. You look at Malik Beasley. How long has he been in the league?
Oh, he needs to
He's
go.
just bad right now. He's shooting terribly. Oh my god.
And then they still got Patrick Beverly, who's kind of, on the bench and doing his thing. Vanderbilt is fairly new, I guess. Really, what I'm getting at is really the only young guy on the team is
Ant-Man.
Edwards, and he's producing more than any of the other guys for the most part. So that's why I brought the question of, is it the talent or is it the coaching? Because at some point we have to get away from this thinking that it's just, they're young and they got to get over the hump. Something's got to change. And another thing that you had said was with Sacramento. Actually, I think Sacramento has the talent. I just think they're a trash organization and trash coaching, but they have the talent. But for some reason, they just decide to send people to hell by just drafting certain players who don't need to be there. Like, you already had De'Aaron Fox. You went and got Tyrese Halliburton. Then you went and got Davion Mitchell. Why are you drafting 3 of the exact same players to your roster? Do you not believe in De'Aaron Fox? You have Harrison Barnes, who's a good small forward, who has championship pedigree. You have Buddy Hield, who really, I know people don't want to hear it, but has a lot of Bradley Beal in his game if given the opportunity. You have good bigs, you have good centers. It just comes down to, first and foremost, y'all should have fired Luke Walton 5 years ago. And y'all just keep drafting this. And I'm saying y'all like it's you, but Sacramento keeps on drafting just people who do not fit. Y'all need to figure out who is your core and go forward. But they have the talent. They just don't have the coaching or the GM.
So I think that's an interesting point you said, because Minnesota and the Kings are kind of in a similar situation in terms of people think they have a lot of talent, they have a lot of youth, and they've been dealt with bad coaches or bad or organization problems. I think the difference is with like Minnesota, and you're right. Cat is on a different spectrum than De'Aaron Fox in terms of talent. I think Cat is on a different level. Anthony Edwards, I think we can all agree, is probably going to be a superstar. We don't think Fox is going to be at that type. And I think what Minnesota is, they're waiting. I don't want to say they're waiting because D'Lo, I think we know what D'Lo is going to be. You know, he's going to be a all-star talent, but I don't think he's going to be that all-star caliber, consistent guy. Cat's going to be Cat. You know, Jared Valen, but he's going to be that type of player for them, that defender, that role player. Pat Bev, I hope they keep him. He's been great for them as a role player. But I think they're waiting for Edwards to make that next leap because I think that's the next. I think Malik Beasley, his time is out over there in Minnesota. I just think he doesn't fit their time. But I think Edwards was that third piece that they've been waiting for. And with Sacramento, like you said, they had Fox. They drafted the wrong guy in Halliburton. I'd say Halliburton is bad. He's a really good player, but he didn't fit the Fox timeline. And Bagley didn't fit the Fox timeline. Now Mitchell doesn't fit the Fox timeline. So now you're kind of stuck with these couple of players, and it kind of sucks. But with Minnesota, I think they're just an Edwards jump, and he's made the jump from rookie to this year. So I think they're just another jump away from them really being a serious contender.
When I look at the Kings, it's kind of weird because, you know, drafting Tyrese, it wasn't the best decision because they had Fox. But you look at that draft, it was like, okay, are you taking a Devin Vassell over Halliburton? Are you taking like one of these players like a Neesmith who went around that area? Are you taking him over Tyrese?
Was best available.
Desmond Bane was like the 29th pick, so he wasn't even like thought of there. And this past draft, I think they drafted Davion because Franz Wagner wasn't at their pick. I think if Franz Wagner was there, they would have drafted him. But he just wasn't there, so it feels like they've been drafting best available. Marvin Bagley was just a miss. I mean, we thought Bagley was great out of college, but, I mean, you draft a Luka. I mean, it changes your franchise. And they drafted Bagley, and it's not even that. I mean, they drafted Bagley over Jaren Jackson, over Luka, even Trae Young. Like, okay, like, you know, like they drafted the wrong guy, and that really set them back. The difference with the Kings and the Wolves is that I think, like you mentioned, Riv, the Wolves have superstar talent, and to your question, Sig, I think that the Wolves are just waiting for Edwards to make that superstar leap. And I think he will eventually. This year, he's up this game. I think next year he'll take another step. But I think Edwards is really a star. I think he's a star in the making for sure.
I think for sure that Anthony Edwards is a star. Nobody's arguing that. I think out of everybody we've talked about, Anthony right now has the highest ceiling out of everybody. I think we all agree on that. I think my question that I would then pose to you is, if you're drafting for the best available, but it doesn't fit your system, then why aren't you drafting and trading? De'Aaron Fox, to me, De'Aaron Fox in the right situation is young John Wall with a better jump shot. So if I'm of the belief of that, I'm not saying that he could be the number one guy, but why not take Tyrese Halliburton, who is a good basketball player, and trade him to try to fill up some holes? You know what? You need a better center, or you need a better shooting guard if you're not going to play
Buddy Hield.
If you're not going to play Buddy Hield, you know, with that whole cat and mouse game, you could have drafted and traded a lot of these people. But the problem is you're drafting them. They're playing good because Tyrese Halliburton had a great rookie year. You know, they're playing good. And then it's like you're holding on to these guys while their clout is high. And it's like, what's going on here? Like, what are y'all doing? You know, so I don't know. I just think that Sacramento could be so much better if they just had better GMs and just better coaching altogether. I think the talent is actually there to at least be a team that can get into the playoffs or fight for the playoffs.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think you're right.